Everyone, I see you.
Well, what's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? This is your guy Manny, and this is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. Shout out to the Commanders. Victory, victory, victory Monday, defeating the Houston Texans. Um, how many times this season have we really had a victory Monday? That was a great game. Great game. I'm going to highlight my thoughts. I'm going to highlight pretty much what happened in the game. It wasn't necessarily an exciting game, but one thing I can say is that wins are exciting. So you can't cry about how you win. When you win, you're excited. That's the biggest thing. Shout out to Antonio Gibson. He had 18 carries for 72 yards. He played really, really well. Brian Robinson pitched in with 15 carries for 57 yards. He averaged 3.8 yards per carry. That's kind of where I want Brian Robinson to be. I'd rather him be at 4 yards per carry, but 3.8 is pretty solid. And 3.8 or better is also solid for Antonio Gibson, especially when you're getting volume. You're not going to get chunk big runs. Like, it's impossible. When you're running, when you're getting the carry so many times, you're not going to run for X amount of yards. So it was great that we were able to run the ball. We ran the ball 40 times. We passed the ball 27 times. So another week of running the ball, ran the ball 40 times. We rushed for 153 yards as a team. It was awesome. As a team, we rushed for 3.8 yards per carry. So that was a beautiful thing. Curtis Samuel pitched in with 2 carries for 18 yards and a touchdown. We had long runs of the long for each of these 3 ball carriers for the Commanders was Curtis Samuel, 10 yards. That was that touchdown. So shout out to him. We had a long run of 14 yards for Brian Robinson Jr. Then we had an 18-yard run by Antonio Gibson. Brian Robinson is not necessarily a guy that's going to beat you with long runs of things of that nature. Because for number one, Brian Robinson, he's not fast. Brian Robinson is not shifty. He's just a power back that knows how to find a hole and run. So he's real decisive. He's not going to dance around too much. And when he does get tackled, for the most part, he falls forward. So I appreciate those tough running, especially when it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. You can give Brian Robinson the ball and trust that he can gain that 4th and 1 or that 4th and inches or that short yard run. That's what Brian Robinson specializes in. And I think that he's done an admirable job. He's done well all season, getting 15 to 24 carries, depending on the game script. For this game, Antonio Gibson was the more effective runner, and Antonio Gibson was actually hot. He was hot. So they gave him the ball, especially on that last drive. He had a chance to score the touchdown, and he slid. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of mad because I wanted more touchdowns. I wanted more points. I think touchdowns are more of a confidence booster. But also Antonio Gibson knowing, hey, he has a fumbling issue or has had a fumbling issue. Then on top of that, he just wanted to kind of make sure that he makes the right play. He slides. He doesn't go out of bounds. Maybe he felt he was going out of bounds. So he slides to keep the clock going. And at the same time, they can go to victory formation and go ahead and end the game. So shout out to Antonio Gibson for using the smarts. Last week, it was Taylor Heineke using the smarts. And this week, it was Antonio Gibson. So shout out to him. Taylor Heineke did all the right things. He did not get sacked one time. So that's a big number that I look at. How many times did he get sacked? He didn't get sacked not one time. There were times that he could have got sacked. He didn't. There were times that he could have threw a pick or two, and he didn't. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be actually good. So the luck has been on Taylor Heineke's side. He had 27 pass attempts. He completed 15 of those for 191 yards. While Taylor Heineke was out here finding guys a guy that we have not seen in a while or that have not even stepped up all year was Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas had his best game of the season. He was targeted 6 times. He caught 5 of those for 65 yards, led the team with 65 yards receiving. Not only that, he had a long of 19 yards. So he was effective. It wasn't just catching the ball. A lot of times he caught the ball and he ran after the catch. So he was real effective in his role. And it was kind of good to see Logan Thomas step up, and not just step up in a big way. Terry McLaurin was targeted 7 times. That's kind of where I want Terry to be, 7, about 10 targets a game. He was targeted 7 times. And we know that Terry's a big play guy. So he normally averages like 15 or more yards per catch. So he was like right around there at 13.8. He caught 4 receptions for 55 yards. He was effective. I felt like we could have used Terry more, but the game script, we needed to run the ball. We had the lead, and we just kind of played smart the rest of the way. Shout out to Antonio Gibson pitching in on the receiving side, 3 receptions for 31 yards, and he had a long of 18. So when you total up Antonio Gibson's yardage total, he was over 100 yards from scrimmage, 103 yards to be exact. And that's kind of what you need out of Antonio Gibson. You step up as a runner, step up as a receiver, and that's what you need out of Antonio Gibson. In games where you have Brian Robinson running more, then you get Antonio Gibson involved more in the pass game. So he had 3 targets. He caught all 3. He was real effective. Cam Sims had 1 reception for 17 yards. I don't remember this play, but shout out to Cam Sims. Jahan Dotson also had 1 reception for 13 yards, and Curtis Samuel pitched in with 1 reception for 10 yards. So I want to see Curtis Samuel get involved a little bit more, 2 targets. But then again, when you only pass the ball 27 times, like how many targets do you have to kind of literally go around? Usually when 2 guys get about 6 to 7 targets, there's not much targets to go around, especially when you're passing the ball under 30 times a game and you're running the ball more. So I just appreciate them running the ball, and I appreciate them being effective. So I'm not mad at that. Taylor Heineke did fumble, but he was able to recover the fumble. I think it was a high snap, so he was able to recover the fumble. Defensively, we were solid. Cameron Curl led us in tackles with 7 tackles. He's played well. Bobby McCain has also played well as a slot corner because of the emergence of Derek Forrest. Speaking of Derek Forrest, he had another interception. He now leads the team with 3 interceptions, and Derek Forrest has been solid all year, and I'm glad that he's now starting as the free safety, something we've been needing. Where we drafted Derek Forrest and what we're getting out of Derek Forrest, it's amazing. It's amazing. We've been crying and hoping and praying for a free safety for a while, and we have one that's very effective in Derek Forrest, and he's only going to continue to get better. The future of this secondary is in great hands. You have Cameron Curl and Forrest locking down that safety position. And then you have Benjamin St-Juste, who's been a dog, who's been getting better. Sometimes you love Benjamin St-Juste, sometimes you hate him. But I love what he brings to the table. Dujane in the building, man. What's good? What's good? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Dujane says, balanced attack is the antidote for this offensive squad to have success. I agree. I think a balanced attack does this team so good. Not only a balanced attack, we have to remember that the offensive line is still pretty bad. It's still pretty bad. With Taylor Heineke's mobility, it kind of helps this offensive line. Because the offensive line, look, if the offensive line was good or better, the run game would be better. But I think that the run game is a product of how good or bad or mediocre that offensive line is. If that offensive line was solid, you will see more explosive runs. I think even though that Brian Robinson is not the explosive runner, he's still coming off of injury, he can have some explosive plays, meaning 20-yard runs or more. If the offensive line was just a tad better, maybe it's something that we need to look into in terms of getting a fullback. I would love to have a fullback in an I formation power run with a guy like Brian Robinson. I just think that you can get the best bang out of your buck when you have Brian Robinson. You guys are tuning in. Please like, please share. If you guys have any comments, please drop them in the comment section. So defense continues to get better. I love Benjamin St-Juste. Some people love him, some people don't. I think that he's very physical. He's very handsy. So he gets his hands involved too much, a little bit too much to where most times he gets a pass interference. I think he's going to be really, really good when he cleans up some of these technical things. But in terms of using his hands, he has to know when and how to use it. Like, for example, the play with Brandon Cooks, when he had his hands on Brandon Cooks, it could have easily been a pass interference. But for the fact that he was able to pop the ball up, and then Derek Forrest just comes in, acrobatic catch, gets the gets like the army in, and he was able to stay in bounds, and that counted as an interception. I think the defense played well overall. They could have been way more dominant, but it's growing pains. It's you're still learning yourself. You're still learning to get better. We had 5 sacks this game. Jonathan Allen had 2 sacks. Montez Sweat also had 2 sacks, and then Deron Payne had 1 sack. So 5 sacks by our 3 top defensive linemen. And I got news. Chase Young is coming back next game versus the ATL Falcons. I'm excited about that. Even if Chase Young is just 20 to 25% healthy, like whatever that Chase Young can give you is better than a lot of these other guys. But shout out to guys like Bada and Tuhill and Ridgeway. Ridgeway grabbed somebody, flipped him upside down. And I mean, that was a great play, because I'm going to find the play and I'm going to put it up on the screen. That's kind of like the edge. That's the nastiness that you want out of this defense. Like you have to have somebody on your team who's the bad guy. And that happened to be Ridgeway. And some people call that a WWF, WWE play. But you know what? I like it. That's the kind of stuff I'm on. You need that grit, that edge, that nastiness. And Ridgeway has been playing well. You also remember that play where Ridgeway, I think Ridgeway broke that. I think it was
Zach. And I always like the little Monday night.
Let me go ahead and play it.
This Washington Commander defensive line was absolutely dominant. And you know, it's Monday. And I always like the little Monday night raw. Let's watch John Ridgeway just stack the guard here. Like that's exactly how you do it. Power step, stack the guard. Now read the middle screen. Damian Pierce, little spot screen. So here we go. Monday night raw. This is the reverse suplex right here. The reverse flying suplex. Like you just don't see this. And I know we got a flag for it, but so what? Like just screenshot that. If you're a Commander fan and you just won 5 out of 6, and nobody can score more than 21 points on you, and you got a backup defensive tackle named Ridgeway, just picking up Damian Pierce and spinning him and flipping him sideways. Like, can I get a flex? Can I get a flex on that one right there, Ridgeway? That's it, man. That's how these Commanders teams are playing. That's what we're dealing with. It's nasty inside here. It ain't fun. It's nasty. That's the way it's got to be. It's just got to be that way. Just watch.
So, guys, man, I love it, man. Baldy's one of the best. I love his analysis. I love what he brings to the table. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I got a few more things to share. But a thought that just came to me now is that, you know, the Jets are possibly going to move away from Zach Wilson, if that may happen. I just bring that up because we need to be happy with what we have in Taylor Heinicke. We know who Taylor Heinicke is. He can throw you into some games. He can throw you out of some games. But the beauty of Taylor Heinicke is that he's a gamer. He's a leader. Not only that, people rally around him. So we need to be excited about that. Yes, I know Zach Wilson was the guy that I wanted. I know a lot of guys wanted Zach Wilson. A lot of guys wanted one of those top 5 quarterbacks, top 5 in that. I think it was that 21 draft? I forgot which draft it was, like 2 years ago. Whatever year that was. I want to say it could have been 2020. But either way, that draft that had Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Justin Fields. A lot of those guys are not doing well. Mac Jones is not necessarily doing well. But people felt that there were 5 franchise quarterbacks in that first round or in that draft. I felt that there was maybe 2 or 3 franchise quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence being one. And then the next guy coming down between Zach Wilson or maybe Justin Fields, just depending on who you like more, who you preference more, maybe even Trey Lance. So I say all this to say, as we're quick to go ahead and draft another quarterback, we're quick to go ahead and say, hey, let's draft this guy, or let's play Sam Howell, or let's do this. We have to realize that sometimes it takes these young quarterbacks some time. Justin Fields finally figured it out, but at the end of the day, he's figuring it out more as a runner, not necessarily a passer. His running is what makes Justin Fields special. You can say, oh, he doesn't have the weapons, he doesn't have this, but at times when his weapons are open, he can't make that accurate throw consistently. So he's getting better, he's growing. I think by next year, you see a Justin Fields playing well. I say all this to say, the rest of the way, I'm glad that Ron Rivera went on and said, you know what, we're going to go ahead and rock with Taylor Heinicke. We know who he is. We know what he brings to the table. The best thing that Taylor Heineke has done this season has been to find Terry McLaurin, especially in third down situations. He knows that Terry is good for those 50-50 balls. Not only that, Terry runs all kinds of routes and gets open. And that was something that Carson Wentz and Terry just couldn't get down. They couldn't get down to timing. They couldn't get down. For whatever the reason was, Wentz didn't feel comfortable or even connected with Terry. Taylor Heineke has been connected with Terry ever since he got here. So whoever the quarterback is next year or moving forward, you got to take your guys somewhere in the summer. That's what leaders do. They take their guys somewhere in the offseason, and they work on timing. They work on situational football. And I think that that's something that Terry does with Taylor Heineke. We don't know. It's not publicized, but I guarantee you that they're constantly working on their game outside of practicing in D.C. Taylor is a leader. You see that every time he wins, he gets himself some J's, and now he's incorporated something fun. He's incorporated the offensive line. He's like, if you guys block well for me, you guys get shoes. Now he's incorporating the tight ends because, in a game where he doesn't get sacked, you got to give the offensive line some love. You got to give the tight end some love. And shout out to Antonio Gibson, who was able to step up and pick up some blitz packages. Like Gibson was in there putting his body in harm's way to make sure that his quarterback was good. And that's another area in Brian Robinson's game that he needs to get better at. We always talked about Gibson's short yardage running. We always talked about Gibson's pass protection. Those are two areas that Gibson has improved in a major way this year. Outside of fumbling the ball and losing the ball, Gibson has shown that he's solid. He's solid. He's getting better. And he went from a guy that was, hey, we might not use you. We don't know how they're going to use you. Are you even a factor? To, oh, guess what? Gibson is a big part of what this team does, and he's returning kicks, and he's doing a really, really good job. So they're using Gibson in space. They're using Gibson to his strengths, and they're putting him in positions to win, and that's what I love about what Scott Turner's doing this year, opposed to all these other years. Dujane says both Taylor and Carson are basically the same guy. I agree. Carson is still learning the offense and hasn't developed a rhythm. With that being said, Carson has the better arm, but Taylor has been more efficient. Great points, all great points. I agree with most of what you said. I think that Carson and Taylor are the same guy. They are the same guy in a sense to, you know what you're getting out of these guys, and they're very similar. I would consider both guys gunslingers, right? The difference between the two, like you said, is the arm. There are throws that Carson Wentz can make. You can be down in the game, and you know that Carson Wentz can throw you into the game. He can also throw you out of the game. So they both do that. Also, when the play breaks down, I have not seen more like any improvisation out of Carson Wentz. I haven't seen any scrambling, any mobility. I have not seen Carson with the ability to kind of buy time to extend plays. All right. Not only that, in a third crucial situation, we know where Taylor is going with the ball. Sometimes you don't know where Carson is going with the ball. So you can say that Carson has spread the ball more, but if you look at it, Carson did favor Jahan Dotson a lot, especially in the red zone. In the red zone, the Commanders were actually better with Carson Wentz because they were able to actually get passing touchdowns in those red zone situations. With Taylor Heineke, the red zone offense hasn't been there. There's still that struggle when we get into the red zone and you run the ball. It's so predictable. It's 3rd and 2, and guess what they do? They run the ball, or you roll out Taylor Heineke to the right, and he throws it out of bounds because he can't make those tight throws. You don't use the tight ends. You don't use guys like Cam Sims. You don't use Terry in the red zone. So it's kind of frustrating. I think that's an area of need. That's an area where the Commanders really need to figure it out. Like when you get into the 20-yard line in the end, why is it that you cannot score touchdowns? The good thing now is that they're actually kicking field goals and actually creating more scoring opportunities. But 23 points is not going to get it every single time. The good thing is that they're keeping guys under 21 points, but you literally need that 23, 24 points just to have a chance every week. And sometimes you don't know where the offense is coming from. Taylor Heineke, last 2 games, has not scored a touchdown, but the team has been successful in terms of moving the ball and winning games. So as long as you're kind of winning, I really don't care what you're doing on offense, but at the end of the day, it's like that red zone offense really needs to get just a little bit better if we want to take this team to that next level. Dujanay says Heineke also has their guys rallying around him, and that's huge. You have to stick with the hot hand. Absolutely. The biggest thing is that the team, they respect Taylor Heineke. It's not that people don't respect Carson Wentz, but he's new here. He's learning the playbook. It's an offense that he's never played in, and also it's an offense that's not really suited for Carson Wentz. That's just my opinion. Like if we were playing more shotgun, more hurry up, yes, then it's an offense for, we do have the weapons for Carson Wentz. We do have guys that can go deep, intermediate. And then also with Logan Thomas not being healthy, there's a lot of I'm laughing at this next comment that I'm about to put up on the screen. There's lots of different things that I've seen from both quarterbacks that I like and I dislike. Mike Brown says Taylor Heineke, trash can water. Hey, say what you want to say. At the end of the day, Taylor Heineke wins. He wins games. I think he's been like the winningest quarterback for the franchise the last 2 or 3 years. And that's not saying a lot because the team is not a winning franchise, but Taylor Heineke does win. But I want to ask you Commanders fans, why is it that Alex Smith gets love for doing the exact same thing that Taylor Heineke is doing, but when Alex Smith does it, right, it's amazing. But when Taylor Heineke does it, it's trash can water, or it's trash, it's noodle arm, it's this, it's that. Alex Smith, Taylor Heineke, very similar. Only difference is Taylor Heineke is not afraid to throw the ball. When Alex Smith was here, what was he doing? Checking down. He checked down so much that J.D. McKissick was the second running back in the league after Kamara with the most targets and possibly the most receptions. And that just tells me that a guy like Alex Smith was just checking down. But if Taylor Heineke's checking down and hitting guys like, Gibson out of the backfield or Logan Thomas intermediate, a little 5-yard, little 10-yard, all these little intermediate stuff, it's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me that Alex Smith gets the respect and Taylor Heineke doesn't get the respect. Mike Brown says Alex Smith is a vet. That's why he gets the respect. I get it. But at the end of the day, you're getting the same production. But the production that you're getting out of Taylor Heineke has been more. Taylor Heineke has done more in a short time for this franchise than Alex Smith did, even when they had that, I guess, a decent record before Alex Smith, broke his leg or whatever. But it's just amazing to me. Yeah, it's amazing to me. So people consider Alex Smith a veteran in his own right, which he is, but they don't consider Taylor Heineke a veteran. They still consider Taylor Heineke a young quarterback. They still consider him somebody who doesn't have experience. But I started giving Taylor Heineke his respect from that playoff game versus Tampa Bay. I saw all I needed to see out of Taylor Heineke to say, you know what, this guy is a gamer. This guy, yes, he doesn't have the talent. He doesn't have the arm talent. There's so many limitations to Taylor Heineke's game. But one thing that I did see out of Taylor Heineke was that he's a gamer and he plays with his heart. Like he says, he plays every game like it's his last. And that's what makes him who he is, whether you like him or not. He says, Alex Smith is a mop bucket water. Hey, I appreciate you, Mike. I appreciate you that you're being fair and you're being honest. That is what it's all about. There are some people that are that are delusional. They will say one thing about one and they'll not say about the other. Like when Alex Smith was here, I did not like Alex Smith at all. Like Alex Smith was so annoying. I remember going to my first Redskins game at the time, and it was the Redskins versus the Atlanta Falcons. Julio was still on the team. That was still an explosive Atlanta Falcons team with Matt Ryan and Calvin Ridley and all these guys. And I remember us going down in that game. And we couldn't come back because Alex Smith was just checking down. And I think that Maurice Harris or Mo Harris, that wide receiver that we had, he led us in receiving. And it was terrible. Not that we had a whole bunch of receivers that could play. I think Dotson dropped a nice catch. I mean, that team was so bad that if you're down, I have zero confidence that Alex Smith can bring us back. Outside of that Pittsburgh win, that was the biggest moment in Alex Smith's life on this team for me. That was like when I said, you know what, Alex Smith, you did good. Never thought he was good, but it is what it is. But with Taylor Heineke, he's given me moments where I was like, wow, I didn't think that we had a chance. Like that Tampa Bay game, we had a chance. We literally had a chance to win the game. Taylor Heineke kept us in the game. We could have won that game. And had we won that game, you're talking about Taylor Heineke, franchise quarterback. We lost the game, and they were still talking about Taylor Heineke, franchise quarterback. We gave him a chance the next year. He didn't perform well. Taylor Heineke is literally a backup that can come in. I think he's a super backup. He can come in, do what he does, and get you some wins. Taylor Heineke long-term could be dangerous. And mind you, when Taylor Heineke was the starter, he didn't have the weapons that he has now. Mike Brown says, y'all could have got Marcus Mariota for this. I'm good. And I feel you. Marcus Mariota is very comparable to what Taylor Heineke can do, but I'm good on Marcus Mariota. He's very similar. He's smart. He makes those same short throws. He runs the ball. He gets first downs. He's real gritty. He's a gamer. But to be honest, if you told me who do I prefer between Marcus Mariota and Taylor Heineke, give me Taylor Heineke. Give me Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke's a much better leader. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, so I saw a lot of Marcus Mariota here in Nashville. He's a good player, but he's not quite the leader that you're looking for out of that quarterback position. You know, Mike is rolling. Yeah, that's to me the only knock on Marcus Mariota is that he's not a leader. He plays hard. He plays very similar to Taylor Heineke, but he's real limited. He's already limited. Now he's even more limited because of his leadership quality. So one thing I can say about Taylor Heineke is that he's a leader. And I only brought this whole rant up about Taylor Heineke's because I'm seeing what's going on in the NFL in the quarterback world. Even when you so-called get your young quarterback who you expect to be your franchise guy, everybody doesn't end up being a franchise guy. He says, don't hate. Hey, that's all you, man. That's all you. So one thing I can say is that everybody's not a franchise guy. And what I can say is sometimes you can find quarterbacks that fit your system later on. But it's, of course, when you draft a quarterback in the first round, the chances of success is a lot greater than drafting a guy in the third or fourth or fifth. Like you're hoping that you draft another Kirk Cousins. Some hate him, some don't. You're hoping that you draft another Dak Prescott. You're hoping that you draft another Russell Wilson. You're hoping that you draft another Derek Carr outside the first round. These guys are so hard to find. They're so hard to find. So sometimes when you kind of get a guy like a Taylor Heineke, you kind of just keep him in your system. And obviously you continue to try to get an upgrade. Had the team brought in Mitchell Trubisky, which was on their radar, would the team be where they are now? No. I mean, Trubisky would have been out of a job literally by week 3, and Taylor Heineke would have been the guy. So it's not that the team didn't try. They tried to get an upgrade. Wentz could have been that upgrade, but I don't think that Wentz has worked out how the team would have wanted it to. Like I said, Wentz makes these plays that are exciting, like, you know, these nice throws, but then again, he'll throw that interception. But the thing with Wentz is that he's going to keep throwing. And that's what I like about Wentz and Heineke, is that they're going to keep throwing, and they're going to give you hope. Even though sometimes people hate this 4-letter word named hope, because sometimes hope means nothing. Like, yeah, you can be hoping all you want, and you know that you're going to lose. But honestly, both guys give me hope. Even in a losing situation, both guys crank it up a bit and try to make plays in order to put the team in position to win. But we don't have the franchise quarterback here. We need to find that franchise quarterback eventually. Since when you're gonna hop on out there on the line, they could use you. Hey, I wish I can play O lineman. Right now, I've actually trimmed down from O lineman weight to about, safety, linebacker. I can play some gunner, I can play some corner. So I mean, those are the positions that I feel I can thrive for the Commanders. Like, I can do some of the things that Derek Forrest is doing, but it just is what it is. If they call me and say, "Hey, Manny, suit up," I'm ready to go. Mike says Marcus Mariota was a first rounder. I get it. I'm not saying, what I'm saying is I understand Mariota was a first rounder. I understand everything that comes with Mariota. I get it. Trust me. I watched this guy for years. My best friend is a Titans fan. We went to Titans games. We've seen this guy play. The biggest knock on Mariota is that he's not the leader that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? Why is it? Even everywhere that he's gone, he's been solid, but you've never really just seen him. Like, even now, you can say, okay, you can blame Arthur Smith and saying, hey, they're not running the ball. I mean, they are winning somewhat. They're like on the same level of winning with the Commanders. So the Commanders have done nothing, to be honest. Like, somebody's saying, oh, the Commanders have won 5 out of the last 6 and this and that. Why are people sleeping on us? People are sleeping on us because we ain't done nothing. We ain't done Nothing. Mike says, are you a Commanders fan or Redskins fan? I am a Redskins fan. I'm a Washington Commanders fan. I'm a Washington football fan. Anything Washington in the burgundy and gold, I'm going to rock with it. I did say that I was going to get some Commanders gear if the Commanders beat the Eagles. So, yeah, the Commanders gear is on the way, and I'm actually excited to rock this Commanders gear. We got Brother Cap in the building. Appreciate you hopping on the stream. Please like it up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Brother says, I'm glad that you're realistic and objective. The Heineke Hive herd thinks he's Montana O'Brady. Yeah, no, he's not that. He's not that. Look, Taylor Heineke is what he is. I call him a super sub. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, backup in the NFL. That's all I see out of Taylor Heineke. He's a backup. He's a backup. And it just is what it is. We have to enjoy him for what he is. You know, he plays hard. He wins some games. I mean, it just is what it is. It is what it is. Mike says he had the perfect passer rating in this first game. Look, Mariota does nothing for me, man. If we had Mariota, it'll be the exact same thing that we're seeing, to where passes are not going deep. It's like there's no upgrade from Taylor Heineke to Mariota. It's actually a downgrade, especially on this team. Like, and then also Mariota has durability issues. So does Taylor Heineke. So it's kind of like I don't see anything. Mike says they sure haven't. At least you're honest. Yeah, man. I keep it real, man. Keep it real. Washington State or Washington, D.C.? Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Everything. Everything, man. Been a fan since 1999, from the days of Stephen Davis. Matter of fact, 1999 was the year that pulled me in. My dad put me on the Redskins at that time, and they had their best season. And I feel that the Redskins had a chance to go to the Super Bowl that year. They were that good. Matter of fact, they barely missed the first round bye and ended up having to play, I believe it was Tampa Bay in the second round, and they lost by 1 point, something like that. It was a great year to be a fan. And I haven't really seen much of great years being a fan outside of 2012 with RG3 rookie season. There's been some moments here and there. Mike says another Kyle Orton. Says Heineke gets the ball batted so much. Wish he could go vertical more. I wish he could too. But you know what though? You got to know your limitations. If you know that your strength is not going vertical, if you know, he has had some throws where he threw like a 40-yard dime to Terry McLaurin in that Eagles game. So he has these moments. I would love to see him roll out more and throw, but how far can he roll out and throw with accuracy? So he's doing the things that he can do well. They're scheming guys like Logan Thomas open. You're using guys like Antonio Gibson. You're using guys like, in intermediate type stuff. And it just works. I'm okay with the intermediate stuff, and I'm okay with actually running the ball 40 times a game. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at with Taylor Heineke. It would be lovely if he can go deep, go more. I mean, and also play calling. What is Scott Turner really calling? Because he kind of opened up the playbook when Carson Wentz was playing, but it wasn't winning football. So maybe, who knows? Maybe had you run the ball 40 times a game and with a Carson Wentz, maybe he can make all those throws. But then again, you have Carson Wentz making these crazy boneheaded throws as well. So it's kind of like, I don't know, man. Between the two guys, I think if you take Taylor Heineke and Carson Wentz and you put them together, you might have a decent quarterback, that can win some games. Says Mike says, I guess you're still dreaming. It says we lost to Tampa. Yeah, we lost to Tampa. And that was a tough loss, both in 99 and Taylor Heineke's first time literally taking over this team. So Tampa has been a thorn in our side. It says, did you see the touchdown pass that Mariota made yesterday? I did not. Tell me more about it. Who did he throw a touchdown pass to? Because I haven't seen Mariota doing much of any touchdown passing this season. I've seen Mariota, I've seen games where Mariota throws the ball 13 times, and they run the ball. So they're doing similar to what Washington is doing. But when you need Mariota to make those plays, he doesn't make those plays. Is it a coaching thing? You have a guy like Kyle Pitts. You don't use Kyle Pitts. You don't utilize Kyle Pitts. Like, what's going on there? You have Drake London, another guy that some Washington fans wanted, some didn't want. How would Drake London fit on this team? So some of the things that I'm looking at, and there's nothing wrong with wanting this player or wanting that player. It just is what it is. It is what it is. Brother says the defense was figuring it out for first 6 weeks. And that's what pisses me off about the Commanders. Why is it that it takes you guys every single year, half the year, to figure something out? Not only that, during the games, it takes you 2 quarters, maybe 3 quarters sometimes to figure it out. The Commanders have been a come-from-behind team for as long as I've known. Most times when they make the playoffs, they run the table, right? Oh, we got to win the next 5 out of the next 7 games to win the playoffs. We start the year 0-4, 5-2. 2-5, and vice and things like that. And then you're playing from behind. Even the year that they made the playoffs, beating the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. This is just who the Commanders are. It's just who the Commanders are. Because I'm not a Redskins fan, but if Dwayne Haskins was alive, I might be. Yeah, man. Rest in peace to Dwayne Haskins. I know his family out here in Nashville. His cousins out here. It was a sad situation. I was excited when we actually drafted Dwayne Haskins. It just didn't work out for the Commanders with Dwayne Haskins. And, some could be coaching, some could be work ethic, for whatever the reason is. Rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins. Let me see. It says because they're just like the Titans. Yeah, man. Dwayne Haskins, he had all the potential in the world. I saw what he did in college. And I know my thing with college, I don't know how you guys feel about college. My thing with college is that a lot of times there's a lot of inflated stats in college, right? You watch the game, you see a guy like C.J. Stroud or whoever, Caleb Williams or whoever. They might throw for 450 yards, but is defense actually being played in college? Like the college-style offense is not sustainable in the NFL. So really, I look at what these guys are doing, and I cut their stats by half because a lot of the stats are inflated stats. You go to overtime, and that whole thing, and just is what it is. You have a guy like Hendon Hooker. If Hendon Hooker falls in the draft, please fall in the draft. That's the quarterback that I want on my Commanders. If he falls in a good spot in the first round, being that I think the Commanders make the playoffs, I think if Hendon Hooker falls, you go get him. Even if he doesn't fall, I'm confident in trading up to go get this guy, letting him sit for a year or two, and then you just throw him the keys. Hendon Hooker's good. But then even in college, he puts up all these stats that might not work in the NFL, but he's a good quarterback. So you look at the talent, you look at the style of play, you look at the conference. I think SEC is one of the best conferences in all of college football. So those are some of the things that I look at, but the stats itself are inflated stats. I don't care about stats in college. There are guys in college that don't have that opportunity to put up these stats, but then when they get to the NFL, you're like, oh, I didn't know this guy can do this. I didn't know this guy can do that because they're pro ready. They're pro talent. Let me see. Mike says that Mariota touchdown pass was crazy. You should have seen it. Yeah, I'm gonna get on YouTube and check it out. You got to be the biggest Mariota fan, Mike. I think that Mike is probably Marcus Mariota. There's no doubt in my mind that Mike Brown is Marcus Mariota right now watching me on YouTube. Now, I'm messing with you, Mike. Bruv says our defense looks elite right now. We don't have the statistical ranking as the 2020 team, but we are far more versatile and talented defensively. I agree. What this defense has done is they get after the quarterback. And to be honest, I was thinking even that 2020 defense, I was thinking that defense was because of Chase Young, right? Chase Young was this guy, and he made the whole entire defensive line better. What has happened since 2020 is that in 2021, Jonathan Allen took that next level. Jonathan Allen became that leader. Not only that leader, he backed it up with his play. Jonathan Allen was literally all pro level, but politics made he made the Pro Bowl. Cool. This defense this year with no Chase Young, I was kind of worried. I'm like, guys like Obata, Tuhill, and even Ridgeway that you picked up. This defensive line is nasty. And then Montez Sweat has taken his game to a whole nother level. Deron Payne, it seems like every single time that a defensive lineman is on his contract year, like you're trying to figure it out, are you going to pay this guy? Are you going to pay this guy? Deron Payne deserves a contract in DC, let's be honest. But it's going to be hard to keep everybody. It's one of those things where are you thinking Payne, are you thinking Sweat? I would say keep these guys together as long as possible. If you got a franchise tag Deron Payne, you do what you got to do. But Deron Payne is showing that, hey, he's playing at an all-pro level. Matter of fact, Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen both should make the Pro Bowl. But we have to see what our record looks like as the year goes on. Let's say we win 10, maybe 11 games. Both guys should be Pro Bowlers. They have been at that kind of level. So that's what I'm seeing out of this defense. And then the entire defensive line is playing nasty. Jamin Davis is playing a whole lot better. So although they don't have the statistical ranking, I think this defense is better than it was in 2020. Now, when you add Chase Young, the rest of these 6 games, let's see what this defense actually looks like. I think this defense can be disruptive. And if this defense starts to get takeaways, it's a whole nother level for this defense. Mike says Drake London did his thing. Drake London is a beast, man. I wasn't a believer initially until I got to see Drake London in the NFL. It's the difference between college and NFL. When I actually seen Drake London in the NFL and what he was able to do against number 1 corners, especially when they were actually passing the ball to Drake London, I was impressed. William, man, what's good, man? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. It says Hooker is already 25. I don't know about sitting him a year. But, coming off the ACL, I mean, if he's ready to go, I'm all about open competition. If he's ready to go, you throw him out there. But I think that Hooker is that dude. Look, you can say he's 25. I get it. It's all about getting the right guy. It's not even about when you get these franchise quarterbacks or any quarterback. Look at Kyler Murray. Right now, there are people saying that Kyler Murray should not be starting for Arizona. So it doesn't matter what the age of the quarterback, who the quarterback is. It's all about getting the right fit, and you write it out. If it's a 5-year journey, you enjoy that 5-year journey. If it's an 8-year journey, 10-year, 15-year journey for that quarterback in that team, you do what you got to do. I think Hendon Hooker is nice. Maybe you don't sit him out a year. But if he's ready to go, you let him go. Mike Brown says, who's the only quarterback to throw a touchdown pass to himself in the playoff game? All right, I get it. Mike Brown is Marcus Mariota. I don't care what anybody has to tell me. Mike Brown right now in my YouTube channel, watching this and chatting, he is Marcus Mariota. There's no doubt in my mind. Brother says, can't wait to see Big Phi Mathis next year. Like Mathis, I think Mathis is a dog, man. Mathis is a dog. He's going to be really, really good. And if what we see in camp intensifies in OTAs and all of that, I mean, it's one of those things where you can say Deron Payne can go. It's just hard to keep everybody. So I'm just enjoying having these guys, and I'm glad that Chase Young is coming back this year. This can be the last time that we see our 4 first-rounders on the line play. So I'm going to enjoy it, and hopefully it leads to a deep playoff run. It says Ron Rivera messed Cam up. How did Ron Rivera mess Cam up? That I don't understand. The base owes Jamin Davis an apology. Absolutely. Jamin Davis is playing lights out. And I loved how we're able to deploy Jamin Davis out to get after the quarterback sometimes. I think we should do more of that. But I think we're going to do more of that when Cole Holcomb is back and he's fully healthy. Imagine Chase Young back. And then you send Jamin Davis with that front 4. And then you have Cole Holcomb, staying back. I mean, this defense can do a lot of different things, and I love Bobby McCain now transitioning to the slot corner. And losing William Jackson III makes this defense a whole lot better. So that's amazing. It's because they hate on Murray just like Mariota. They do hate on Murray. I think Kyler Murray is a good quarterback. I think he can be a great quarterback. It's just all about being healthy. With him, it's about health. He's a shorter quarterback, but also Kyler Murray is a guy that you got to surround with a lot of talent. We've seen it. Ever since DeAndre Hopkins got to Arizona, Kyler Murray has been amazing, right? In the games without DeAndre Hopkins, he looks kind of crazy. So you got to surround him with a lot of talent. Rondell Moore is coming into his own. Kyler Murray's pretty good. He's pretty good. Says, I want to see Sam Howell. I want to see Sam Howell as well. In the preseason next year, that's when I want to see Sam Howell. I want to see Sam Howell continue to learn from that bench. And I said this year that I don't think that Sam Howell plays. I said also the only time that you will see Sam Howell is if the season was going the opposite end. And it was so close for that season to go that opposite end, especially when Carson Wentz got hurt. You literally could have gone Sam Howell. But I think if the Commanders win Sam Howell, then that means you're tossing in the towel and you're saying, hey, the season is over. We're going to see what Sam Howell has. And I'm kind of glad we went to Taylor Heineke. That just shows that we wanted to win, and we're winning. So that was a good decision, great decision. Who knows what we have in Sam Howell? But I don't think we see Sam Howell this season. With 6 games left, you go 4-2 or 5-1, if possible. Then you're talking about, wild card. You're going to need at least 10 wins, and you're going to need to beat these guys in the NFC. Like outside of Cleveland, you need to win the rest of these games. You got to split with the Giants at least. You got to beat the Cowboys at least. And who knows? Maybe it gets to a situation where that Cowboys game becomes so crucial in playoff season. So a lot can happen between now and the end of the season. I just take it week to week. I'm just excited for that ATL game right now. Mike says Hopkins is the truth. Yes, I believe Hopkins is the truth. Boy, you used to torch Tennessee every game. Man, Hopkins is one of those guys that is special. Like, I wish we had a receiver like Hopkins. I love Terry McLaurin, don't get it twisted, but DeAndre Hopkins is next level. He's just next level, and he's just one of those guys. Mike says, what do you think about Cam Sims? I think that Cam Sims is a good backup wide receiver. Just the same way I think that Taylor Heineke is a good backup quarterback. Cam Sims is a good backup wide receiver. He plays his role. He plays special teams. He does all the little things. I wish they would use him more, but it just is what it is. It's just kind of hard for Cam Sims to get on the field when you have Terry, you have Curtis, you have Jahan. So already these are 3 guys, and then you have De'Ami Brown, who's made a little bit of stride this season. So it's kind of hard for Cam Sims to find the field, especially if the 4 guys that I mentioned above him are healthy. It's just not going to happen. It says, interesting how better that Fuller is playing when William Jackson was benched and traded. Absolutely. I think that William Jackson III was just he was a pain. He was a pain. He was a thorn in our side. Sometimes less is more. Less is more. We're playing guys like Wild Goose. We're playing guys like Danny Johnson, and these guys are stepping up in big ways. I mean, even playing a guy like what's his name, Bobby McCain in the slot is helped. So it was like William Jackson III just did not fit. Not only did he not fit, he wasn't healthy. So those are 2 things going against him, not fitting. Especially remember that year when we had Josh Norman, and they put Josh Norman in was it zone or man, and he wanted to play the opposite. And I mean, it was just crazy. Sometimes you just got to get guys that fit your system. If you're gonna run a certain system, you get those guys that fit your system. If not, if you're gonna bring in a guy that's a good player or a special player or a great player or whatever you want to classify that player as, you got to play that player to their strengths. And that's something that this franchise and this coaching staff has failed to do, especially this season. And that's why we always start off with these crazy slow starts. You a Percy Butler fan? I love Percy Butler. I think that Percy Butler is definitely going to get his time to shine. Kind of like how Derek Forrest comes in, and Derek Forrest is just focused on special teams and just doing the little things. And then guess what? There's a sliver of hope. There's a sliver of playing time where he comes in because Cameron Crowe is out. Then he shines and he showcases his talent. Now he's become the starting free safety. There's going to be a time where they love that Buffalo nickel. Maybe you move Cameron Curl, you move guys around, and then you get more Percy Butler in the game and in these, defensive snaps. I love Percy Butler. I think he's going to be an excellent player for us. I think he's rangy. I think he's strong. He brings a lot of that same kind of energy that Derek Forrest brings to the table. But Derek Forrest had to literally earn his way up, and I think that's what's going to happen with Percy Butler. I love that the team is drafting safeties in the 4th, 5th round, that area. In places where you can, develop these guys. And it's all about development for me. It says, fire Rivera now. No, I think not. I think Ron Rivera is doing an excellent job, especially with all the adversity. There are things that Ron Rivera can be better at. There are things. But I will not say fire Ron Rivera. It says, Logan Thomas is y'all best player. Now you're trolling. Good one there. I don't think he's our best player. I think he's an important player, and he's finally finding his own. So back to the game analysis before I go ahead and close the stream. Kendall Fuller had a pick 6, and that literally set the tone for this defense. I think after we got that pick 6, it was like, man, this defense is like, man, we're good. We can be good. And this is a game where we had 2 interceptions, and we didn't turn over the ball. So we won the turnover battle +2, which is also great for Washington and Washington fans. Joey Sly had another excellent game. He had a long field goal of 44, and then he had 2 other shorter field goals. He made 3 for 3, and he's been solid. If Joey Slye continues to be solid and continues to keep this trend going, especially as the season goes on or even in the playoffs. So if he does that, I think that Joey Slye is the future kicker for this team. There was a time when I wasn't trusting Joey Slye. There was a time I was saying, you know what, Joey Slye sucks. But these last 2 weeks, these last 3 weeks, he's shown me a lot. He's been accurate. He's been consistent, and he's been doing everything that we need him to do. Troy Sway, he's solid. He does everything that you need him to do. We were able to limit the Texans from what they do best, which is run the ball. They had 10 carries for 8 yards. Somebody hit me up on Twitter and was asking me a fantasy question. They told me, should they start Dameon Pierce? I said, Dameon Pierce is not going to do anything. He didn't believe me. I said, do not start Dameon Pierce. I said, if you have an option, I would go Antonio Gibson over Dameon Pierce. Just because if Antonio Gibson gets you 2 or 3 receptions, that's literally 10 points. So that's literally what happened. And he was like, wow, good call, but it was hard to bench Dameon Pierce. I'm excited to go against the Falcons. They've run the ball well, but at the same time, this run defense is where it's at. The Falcons will have to beat us through the air if they want any success. I'm confident in this run defense. I'm not always confident in this pass defense, but this run defense, I can say, you know what, they can shut down or hold any running back to a certain amount of yards, a certain amount of touchdowns, a certain amount of carries, and a certain amount of success. So I love what this defense is doing. Mike Brown says, give Montez a raise. Look, the raise is coming. The price just went up. I think that Montez Sweat gets paid when it's his time to get paid. They might have to make that decision between Payne and Sweat, and both guys are great. I'm okay with either one of these two guys. Bruv says, I'm proud of this team. Let's keep them together and grow. I'm with it. Like, do whatever it takes to pay Payne. Do whatever it takes to pay Montez Sweat. If you have to pay everybody on that offensive line, you do what you got to do. But then I've been hearing, Cameron Crowe's money's coming up. Cole Holcomb's money's coming up. Some of these guys are replaceable. You keep Cam Crowe. But if losing Cole Holcomb is the reason why you keep Sweat and Payne, I'm all for it. Yeah, keep the team together, grow, and I think they're building a solid foundation. I would love to see the offense get a little bit better. I want the offensive line to get a little bit better. If the offensive line gets a little bit better, then we can get some longer sustaining runs, some like you want these guys on the line to be nasty. I want these guys on the line to be as nasty as the defensive lines. I think focus next year in the draft and even in the offseason is getting better offensive linemen. Guys like Eric Flowers. I miss Eric Flowers, man. Norwell is not it. It just is what it is. I think y'all actually might be able to slide in playoffs. I'm hoping, man. I think it's one of those years where things are aligning, knocking on wood. I hope we make the playoffs. It will be exciting too. And even if we win 10 wins, right? If we win 10 wins and we don't make the playoffs, this will be one of the few times that I've seen 10 wins as a fan. So 11 wins since I've been a fan, I've never seen 11 wins. And that's sad. That is sad to say, but that's the reality. This is a poor franchise. This is a terrible franchise. But I just continue to support the team just because in football, you're more loyal to one team. In basketball, you see player movement. You see guys that follow LeBron to wherever he wants to go. But for me, I just can't see myself supporting any other color than burgundy and gold. It's burgundy and gold until the blood turns cold. Mike Brown says, Mariota smokes y'all every time Falcons beat you every way possible. We'll see what happens. Keep that same energy, and I hope that you're able to come on this stream next Monday when I want a victory Monday podcast talking about Marcus Mariota. So keep that same energy. It says, or they get you at a fraction of the cost. Laughing. It says it's good to think positive. It is, man. It is. And with this franchise, man, it's been tough. But guys, man, this is my time. This is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. This is the Back Row Commanders show. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. For everybody who was able to come on the stream, I appreciate all the comments. If you guys are interested in becoming a channel member, you can join right there. Also, this channel, I do fantasy football, I do NBA, I do everything. It's a buffet table. You come in, you grab what you want, and that's that. Appreciate Mike for being here. Mike is not even a Commanders fan, but he was able to come in here, chop it up with me, troll a little bit, talk trash a little bit, have a little bit of fun, and that's what my channel is all about. That's what my podcast is all about. I try to make it relatable to everybody, man. Make it relatable to everybody, and it just is what it is. It says the Chiefs got similar colors. Why don't you just switch? I can't do it, Mike. I can't do it. It's easy. It's easy to go ahead and hop on with the Chiefs, but I just can't do it. And you know, got the Indian thing too, so it's so easy. But nah, I'm good where I'm at. It's just so fun. Eventually, I'm praying in my lifetime that the Commanders win a championship, win a Super Bowl. It would be one of the greatest feelings ever because I've been with the team since the team was trash. You know what I'm saying? Mike says, love you, man. All love, brother. All love. Mike says, 5 more minutes, please. All right, I'm going to give y'all 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. Let's get it. But it's so, like, in football, it's so tough. Like, we're so passionate about our team. We're so, like, your team can make or break your week. There are times when I come into work and I'm so pissed off because these stupid Commanders have gone on and done something dumb. Right? And then it messes up my whole week. But with growth, says God bless. God bless you too, brother. Yeah, with growth, it's like, yeah, they're not the Redskins anymore. You're right. It's the Washington Commanders. And, you know, I still have my Redskins gear. I still wear my Redskins gear. Wear a little bit of everything. Like I said, Commanders gear is coming because we did win that game. And I said to myself, if we beat the Eagles, I'll have my first Commanders gear. With the Washington football thing, when they turned into the Washington football team, I just couldn't get down with getting gear. I knew why buy gear, and they changed the name next year. But now I guess you can go ahead and scoop some gear, and it's like collector's item. Bruv says, I like being a fan. Loyalty is everything. Says a lot about one's character. Absolutely, man. Loyalty is everything. And like I said, if this team ever wins anything, when this team wins, it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be the most gratifying feeling ever. I'm also a Lakers fan. I'm also a Wizards fan. Yeah, now in basketball, why do I have two teams? I was a big Kobe guy. Became a Lakers fan. Never left the Lakers because of Kobe. Grew up in D.C., so I was a Wizards fan. But the Wizards fan has brought me nothing but misery. There were times when we had those great teams or great tandems of Gilbert Arenas, Antoine Jameson. So loyalty is everything. Being a Lakers fan, I'm used to winning, right? So I'm enjoying these championships. I've seen 5 or 6 championships in my lifetime being a Lakers fan. And every championship is different. Every championship to me was beautiful, including the bubble ring. A ring that everybody says, oh, it's the bubble ring, is this, is that, right? But I enjoyed every bit of it. And being a Washington fan, being a Commanders fan, it's so tough. Mike Brown says, and they're still trash. It just is what it is, man. We're just stuck with this team. When you really, really, really love your team, you're just stuck with your team. Says try being a Titans fan, but nah, I can't do it. I cannot get down with the Titans. I just can't. I support them. I'm glad when they win, but I don't have any Titans gear. I don't spend my money on Titans tickets. The only time I go to a Titans game is when I get free tickets. He says that's false claiming. How is that false claiming? Since I went from a Tennessee Oilers fan to a Tennessee Titans fan. That's great. I went from a Redskins fan to a Commanders fan. It just is what it is. So I got some news for you guys. Kyler Murray, they're saying that he may not play. I think that Kyler Murray doesn't play tonight, and I think they go with Colt McCoy. So I don't know what this game is going to look like tonight. It says, you like the Lakers because of Bron. The funny thing is I hate LeBron. If I saw LeBron today, I would shake his hand. I'll say, you are a great player. You're an awesome player, but I don't like you. I won't necessarily tell him that I don't like him, but I'll let him know that there was a time when I was the biggest LeBron fan when he played for Cleveland, those first 7 years. And there was a time when I hated LeBron. When he left Cleveland, I hated LeBron. I cheered for every team going against LeBron. When he lost that championship to Dallas, I was excited. That felt so good. And then now LeBron comes to my Lakers. I got to support him because I'm a Laker fan. Loyalty. We talked about loyalty, right? So you got to support everybody that's on your team. There's been guys that the Redskins at the time or Commanders or football team have brought in that I hate. But guess what? Now that you're part of my crew, I got to support you. So that's how a lot of the fan base is. They support the players that are on this squad. Just, I lost my voice for 2 seasons straight. You lost your voice for 2 seasons straight. It says, you're wearing Redskins gear but claiming to be a Commanders fan. Absolutely. It's very legal. When you go to a Commanders game, Redskins gear is welcome. Commanders gears are also welcome. And then also, you can always get, Washington football gear as well. So anybody who wants to buy me Commanders gear, you guys are more than welcome. The Twitter handle has where you can find me. You can DM me, and I can send you my address, and you can send me some Commanders gear. And I would gladly wear that Commanders gear. Christmas is right around the corner, right? It says, look at all the scholarships he's giving away. LeBron's a good guy. I have no. So, Mike Brown, are you the same Mike Brown that coached LeBron James? I'm starting to think that you're the same Mike Brown that coached LeBron James. Sometimes you're talking as Marcus Mariota, and now you seem to be talking as Mike Brown. So, I don't know. Now, Mike Brown says Bron being the biggest talked about basketball player ever since he was in high school, since I was in high school, so since you were in high school. Yeah, LeBron, look, like I said, first 7 years of LeBron's career, I loved him. He was great. I just didn't like how he left. He did a pep rally, and he said, we're not going to win not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 5, 6, 7, 8 championships. He guaranteed 8 championships. And that's kind of like where I just stopped liking LeBron. He had to show the decision just to leave, and then he had a pep rally, and the whole thing just spiraled out of control. I just kind of just lost love for LeBron. It is what it is. It says, listen, my voice rooting for your favorite team. So what I'm gathering from you, Mike, is that you are a Titans fan. You are a big Mariota fan. You used to be a Dwayne Haskins fan. And then in basketball, you are a LeBron fan who happens to now be a Lakers fan. You got it. But guys, man, this is my time. I had fun. I might be back on tonight to stream after this Arizona game. I think that'd be cool. So once again, guys, this is your guy, Manny. This is the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. You listen to the Back Row Commander Show. This might be the craziest Back Row Commander show that I've ever produced, just for the simple fact that we talked about a little bit of everything. If you're listening to audio version of it, please subscribe, please like, please rate me, leave me a comment if you like the show, if you hate the show. If you're listening on YouTube, please like, please share, and I will catch you guys on that next stream. I'm out. Peace.